Hi, bonjour. My name is Sophie Posey, a resident French expat living in France, but having lived in the US for 25 years, adopted from Venezuela. So I'm a writer and musician here, and today I'm going to focus on one of my stories called Girl at Sea from my Inside Out Worlds collection. It's sci-fi and magical realism. Right now I'm running a free promo on it, so you can claim your free copy of this collection on BookFunnel. The link is in my profile. And so this story is called Girl at Sea, and it's based on some dreams I had around this like magical smoky light found at the sea, combined with my own experiences as someone who's been psychologically and physically abused by my mom, my adopted mother. And so I kind of mashed those two concepts together into this story. So I'm going to read to you an excerpt of the story and go from there. Girl at Sea. I am your mirror, Oneira. Your every thought, dream, and behavior are reflected back at you. Don't forget that, her mom intoned, her eyes focused on the floor-length mirror in front of them in the living room. How could I forget, Oneira thought. You tell me almost every day. She wrapped a coil of copper-red hair around her finger and worried it again and again as her mom continued. Everything you do, I will do back to you. Oneira flinched. She knew that too well. Even as a little girl, she'd known if she threw a tantrum, her mom would throw one too. If she lied about something, her mom would lie back to her. If she made a mistake in the kitchen, her mom would ruin dinner when it was her turn to cook. The only difference was that, strictly speaking, instead of replicating it exactly, her mom would increase the severity of her crime by tenfold. It was all a pantomime, a farce to hurt Oneira's feelings. Not that she would ever tell her mom that it was working. Standing here in front of that blasted mirror, reflecting Oneira's wave face and her puffy eyes, and her mom's proud upturned face and her saggy body encased in a fluffy bathrobe, Oneira wanted to scream. But she couldn't. She just wished she'd never brought up the idea of going to the store by herself, a store only 2 miles away from the beach. All she wanted was to buy some jewelry and a little something to honor the 7th anniversary of her father's passing. The few friends who still dared to call, if they could get past her mom's Cerberus-like guard of a telephone, spoke of the things they did, tried to invite her to go places with them. But usually around the time the conversation got interesting, Oneira's mom's 5-minute timer would go off, and she would cut the phone conversation. House rule. You will never speak of this again. Your place is here at home, taking care of me as is your duty. Remember, if you whine or get angry, I will simply copy you, because... You are my mirror, Oneira said sufferingly, her stomach in knots. Good, her mom softened, her onyx eyes losing their predatory glint. You're an okay kid. Too much of your father in you. But I'll fix that. Give me a hug, her mom said, her arms outstretched. Oneira took a little too long, and her mom shifted, her lips tightening. Oneira hurried and gave her mom a sloppy hug. Afterwards, she rushed to her bedroom and threw herself back into map-making. Her rough sketches and pens waited for her patiently. She looked in a blur of tears at the paintings of lighthouses on her walls, her collection of nautical ounce coins, ethnic masks, and rugs her dad had brought back from his travels. So much for her ever traveling like him. She never got out of the house by herself. Her mom always had to come. Oneira was 15. She could go out on her own, she knew it, but it would never happen without her mother's permission. She pushed the historical maps on her bed away and capped her pens of shaking hands. 7 years. 7 years since her dad had passed away. If he were here, this house would be alive again. Joyful. Semi-joyful, at least. Her mother had always had her dark moods. Only her dad had been able to quell those moods when she let him. But no, he had to get lost at sea and never come back, transforming her once fairly mellow mother into a husk of her former self, leaving Oneira stranded in this ancestral home on the beach, lost at sea while solidly on land. So that's the end of this excerpt for the story. Again, this is based on my own experiences with emotional abuse. And literally one of the first lines of the story is, I am your mirror. That is what my mother would tell me. And she would do a lot of the things this mother does in this story. So feel free, if this rings a bell with you, unfortunately, if you've experienced this, feel free to share that or message me even privately. in the comments, or if you've read stories that portray this aspect of parenthood and teenage relationship pretty well. Added bonus, if there's some magical aspects to it, feel free to let me know in the comments. Bye bye, thanks for listening.